Good morning students of class 9. Today we are going to discuss about the two features of Indian constitution, that is quasi-federal form of government and universal adult franchise. Okay, so what is quasi-federal form of government? India has a quasi-federal form of government, that is it has features of both a federal government and it has also the features of unitary government. Okay, and let's first discuss that what is the difference between a federal government and a unitary government. So a unitary government is the one in which all the powers are vested, concentrated in the central government. Yes, it is not that in the unitary form of government there cannot be the state governments. There can be state governments. Okay, but the center is supposed, the central government is supposed to just have all the powers. The central government can just dismiss the state governments. The central government can also interfere into the matters of the state governments. Yes. So this is called unitary government. But in a federal government, there again can be both form of government, that is central government and state government. But here the power is divided between central and state government, and central government cannot interfere in the matters of state government. Central government cannot misuse its supremacy, yes, and it cannot just dismiss the state governments. So in this way we have just seen the difference between a unitary form of government and a federal form of government. Once again I am saying that unitary form of government, the central government, the union government is all in all. But in federal form of government, the power is separated between state and central government, and both can enjoy their power, we can say, separately. Yes. Now we are going to discuss that what are the features of a federal form of government. What are the characteristics of a federal form of government? So the first and very important feature of federal form of government, that there should be at least two forms of government, two levels of government, that is central and state governments. Yes, because to share the power we need at least two form of government. Yes, so India has three levels of government: central, state as well as local self-government. So in this way, and the power is divided among these three forms of government. Okay, and no one can just interfere into each other's matters. So here we can say that India is a federal country. Yes. Next important feature, characteristic of federal government, a federal country, is that there should be a written constitution. Okay. So written constitution is necessary to make a country federal. Yes, just we have discussed that in a unitary form of government, the central government can misuse its power and it can undermine the power of state government. Okay, it can dismiss the state government, it can interfere into the matters of state governments. Yes, but when the powers of central and state government will be clearly written in the constitution, then there is no scope left for the central government that it will disturb in any manner to the state governments. So a written provision is necessary to just enjoy the powers, okay, separately. So India we all know, we have discussed that the longest written constitution, and in this the powers of these two governments have been clearly defined, clearly separated. Yes. Next important feature of federal government is the power. Just we were discussing that the power of central and state governments have been clearly defined, clearly separated. So there are three fold of distribution of power, that is central list, state list and concurrent list. Yes. So in central list there are 99 subjects and important subjects upon which only central government can make laws. In the state list there are 66 subjects upon which only the state governments can make laws. And in the concurrent list there are 47 subjects upon which both the central as well as state government can make laws. But if the dispute arises, if the conflicts arises between these two governments, then in that case the central government has a final say. Whatever the central government will decide, the state governments has to follow. Okay. So apart from these three, there is one more subject, that is residuary subject, that we have discussed in earlier period also, that some of the current issues in like technologies of software, these subjects are just taken care of by central government. Yes. So the powers have been clearly divided of central government and state government. Then we have Supreme Court. The another important feature of federal government, the another characteristic of federal government is that there should be someone who can just end the conflicts, the dispute between central and state government. Okay, and we have Supreme Court. So Supreme Court is the final interpreter of the Constitution. Actually, Supreme Court acts as an umpire. Okay, so there are provisions we have discussed just that the powers are divided separately. It is also written in the Constitution. Despite of all this, it might be that the central government can just misuse its power. Okay, and if there is, despite the division of the powers of each government, central and state government, there might be confusion. Okay, there might be dispute, conflicts between these two. So there, to handle just all these situations, circumstances, we have Supreme Court. It acts as an umpire and it solves the problems, the disputes between these two governments. So these are the features, characteristics of a federal government. Now we are going to discuss about the characteristics of a unitary government. Okay, our country is we have just discussed that it has both the feature of federal as well as unitary form of government. So what are the characteristics, what are the features of our Indian Constitution that actually makes our Constitution on an unitary form of government? Okay. So the first feature of unitary government is that the central has more power, it is more stronger than the state governments. Okay, how? Just we have discussed that central government can make upon the important subjects and 99 subjects have been given to central government in the central list. Yes, and the state governments have just 66 subjects, and less important subjects are given to the state government. So in this way we can say the central government has more power, and it is the feature of a unitary government. Next point, next characteristic that we can say that the central government has the power, has the final say on the subjects of concurrent list, just we have discussed, and upon the residuary subjects also the central government can make laws. So these are the things that give more power to central government. Yes, apart from that, during an emergency, emergency is actually during the war, external war, or during the civil war within the country. Emergency is just proclaimed in the country. Okay, and during the financial crisis also emergency can be put in the country. Yes, during to the due to the failure of constitutional machinery in the state's president rule is just imposed, implemented in the state. Yes, so during emergency the power of central government just increases, and the power of central state government is just reduced, curtailed. This also makes our country a unitary government. Yes, unitary form of government. Next, the central government can only, the union legislature, the parliament can only just create new states, create new boundaries of the states. Yes, and we have one more important feature to be called unitary form of government, that is the Supreme Court, or the judiciary system is integrated. Okay, so for all civil cases and criminal cases, there is just one judiciary to look after the cases of all the cases in our country. Yes, there is not separate judiciary for state, and there is not separate judiciary for country. So there is just one unitary and integrated judiciary, and the Supreme Court is the highest court which just decides all the solves all the disputes. Okay. Next, the central government also rules over the union territories. Yes, this also makes India unitary form of government. Okay, the central government actually, the president actually appoints the governor for the states. Yes, so all these provisions that we have discussed make our country a unitary form of government. Yes, and okay, so in this way we have just one more important thing, that how many members will be to the Rajya Sabha from each state. It is also decided by the parliament. Okay, that is the union legislature. That is okay. So in this way we can say that union government, we have unitary form of government. Yes. So in this way, by seeing all the features of all these features, we can say that India is a unitary form of government. India has a unitary form of government. Yes. So though we are federal in nature, okay, but by these characteristics we can say that we are unitary in spirit. Next feature is universal adult franchising. It is very important. It is actually for giving political equality to everyone. Yes, it means that right to vote, and this right, this political right is given to every citizen who is of 18 years and above. Okay, those who are of 18 years and above, 18 years age, they are entitled to give their vote. Okay, irrespective of the differences like caste, religion, race, etc. Yes, so we can say that political equality is given in our country to each and everyone. The only criteria is that the age must be of 18 and above. Okay. So we have discussed in this topic. It is given that by the Act of 1935 of Government India Act, communal electorate was just made. Communal electorate means from a constituency. Only a particular person of a particular community can contest election. Yes, suppose any constituency is for Muslims, so only the Muslims can contest elections in that particular constituency. So this has been removed away because it can create communal problem. Okay, the community can just fight with each other. There will be no brotherhood, fraternity if such kind of things will happen. So this has been also removed. Every person can just the person belong to different community can just contest from each election. Yes. So we have also discussed this. Apart from that, there is secret ballot. Secret ballot. It is very important. It means that to whom, to which party we are giving vote, it is kept secret. Yes. Otherwise, the problem will be created. Okay. So any individual, so he is or she is giving vote to anyone, so to whom he has given vote or she has given vote, to which person, to which party, it has been just kept secret. Otherwise, to the people, to the other party, suppose we have not given vote and it comes into light, then they can create problem to us. So that's why it is, the voting system is kept secret. Okay, so this is just universal adult franchising. In this topic we have discussed this. Okay, the next important feature is single citizenship. Single citizenship. It means that all the people of our country has been granted a single citizenship. It means that we all are citizens of India. Okay? We are not citizens of Bihar. We are not citizens of Bengal. Like this, we are just the citizens of India. We are Indian, not Bihari and Bengali and Marathi. Yes. But in USA, there a person, an individual, can be citizenship of a state as well as of country. Okay. But in our country, there is no such system, and it is brought in provision just to spread brotherhood, fraternity among the people. Yeah? Okay, and it is made to just end the separatist tendency. Okay, otherwise we can think that okay, we are citizen of Bihar, we are not citizen of India. Yes, so For this we have just included in our constitution that all the people of various states and union territories, they all are common, they all are Indian, there is just one single citizenship. Okay, so three features of Indian constitution we have discussed today. Some of the features are just left, which will be finished in the next topic in the next video. Till then, goodbye, thank you.